Men, and as usual, I use the term ever so loosely. I think this is going to be a quick video. We're going to talk about V-twin quality control and lack thereof. Three things. First one, foot peg mount. You've seen me bitch about these before. You know, it looks like a nice part. It really does. It's nice, it's heavy, looks pretty well made, but down inside here where you can't see, the part is too fat and it hits the primary cover, which keeps it from going onto the stub shaft all the way. I think you've heard me bitch about that in a previous video. Number one. Number two, brake pedal. This is a V-twin reproduction brake pedal. And just FYI, this is the 75 XLH, XLCH I've been working on for this customer. It was a left-hand shift and a right side brake forward control bike, and he wanted it converted back to a mid-control type bike. And I suggested, and he'd agreed, to reconvert this one back to right side shift and left side brake, because that's how the cases are set up on these, and it just makes a much better installation. But anyway, I had to buy a brake lever, and these are commonly available on eBay. There's lots of them floating around out there. I could have probably bought a used one in decent enough shape, but I opted for the new V-twin repo. And of course it didn't fucking fit. Their failure on this particular part was in this area here. This corner, as you could see, is rounded off. The V-twin corner was perfectly square. And the reason that matters is because there's a head of a screw down in here. And if the corner is not rounded off, the brake lever will hit the screw. So in the world of V-twin fuck-ups, that's really not too bad, you know. And on both of these, this is a zinc-plated foot peg mount, and this is a zinc-plated brake lever. On both of these parts, of course, I had to grind metal off. And, of course, the zinc prevents everything from rusting, so I had to spritz on some aluminum engine paint on both of these in the areas where it was ground to keep it from rusting. You know, minor defects in the world of V-twin, and certainly this is advanced engineering to duplicate a part and, you know, have it actually be a duplicate. If you're doing restoration work, you know, it's easy enough to make that modification. However, if you look at the checkerboarding on the original, and then look at the checkerboarding on their repo, they're nowhere near the same. I do believe this is an original HD pedal, and you know, if you're a guy who goes to, you know, AMA shows and is doing a restoration, this is obviously a reproduction for what it's worth. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. This bike is in stock. It's never going to be an original. But anyway, checkerboarding is different. Not a big deal. Functionally, works fine, I'm sure. Okay, so the brake lever was the number two topic of conversation. Number three is this nut and this bolt. I mean, fundamental to all mechanical operations pretty much is the nut and bolt. And you would think that they'd be able to handle nut and bolt. But apparently not. We're going to try to tighten this nut here onto this bolt. Now the other one on the other side was fucked up, so I don't know whether this one will be fucked up or not. We're going to see. And this is a metal self-locking nut. Okay, it's pretty tight there, and it is not all the way in. And at risk of screwing things up, I don't want to force it. But anyway, point being is the nut doesn't fit the bolt. It's self-locking, so it's got those little crimps on the end, and they over-crimped it and it won't go through. So I had this problem on the other side, and I thought, what the fuck? So I took it out. Yeah, and I could feel the threads are galled up on this one a little bit already, but it will come off. And there's a little bit of gall on here. Gall on here. You could just barely see it. Anyway, my thought on the other one, the one on the other side, was that, well, I'll just run a tap. See, and I can't even get the bolt into the nut right now. It won't go in. Away. But anyway, my thought on the other one was I'll just run a tap through the nut. Yes, that will destroy the self-locking feature, but at least the two things will be together and I could tighten them up. But that didn't work. And I'll show you why. Okay, in an effort to fix the problem, I decided to run a tap down through the nut. Should be pretty simple, you would think. Well, let's see. The tap does start. And it gets to a point where it just won't go anymore. Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck? It just won't go anymore. Ay, ay, ay. It's almost through, but you know, this is a taper tap. The first, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch or whatever, the threads are tapered, and it just will not go. What the fuck? I mean, maybe I could force it, but I don't want to break my tap off in this thing. What the fuck? Anyway, nut and bolt. Nut and a bolt. They can't get a nut and a bolt to fit together. So let's take the tap out of there. And we'll toss the nut in the garbage. Alright, so I'm going to run a die over the bolt just because the last couple of threads were dicked up from trying to force it into the nut. Good. And of course we'll replace it. This is what kills me about V-twin. Nut and a bolt. This should be a simple thing. There's engineering diagrams, tolerances, specifications for threads, all that. Had the machine shop that was doing this for V-twin read any of the specs, this thing probably would have worked, but apparently they don't care, and they'll just launch the part anyway. What the fuck? Like I say, if you were a customer, I'm sure V-twin would give you their money back. But in the meantime, the hassle and the bullshit you go through, and they'd give you your money back or they'd send you another one. Well, the chances are whatever one they'd send you would be screwed up just like this one is. You can never get a bike built under those circumstances. But anyway, that's my bitch and my rant of the day. V-twin quality control and lack thereof. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Get yourself a coffee cup, get yourself a sticker, and we'll see you later. Bye. In case you're interested, here's the part numbers of the brake pedal I was talking about today and the bolt set I was talking about. I didn't save the tag for the peg mounts, but, V-twin peg mounts, you'll see them if you look them up. Anyway, I don't know, depending on how authentic you want to be, parts to be avoided if you're looking for authenticity and correct fit out of the box.